The 90s were a childhood full of memories. It was the era of analog. There was no internet, no mobile phones, and not much technology. It was such a beautiful time, and perhaps we are the only generation that witnessed such rapid changes in technology. Maybe that's why we miss the 90s so much. In today's video, we're taking a stroll down memory lane to explore the vibrant era of the 90s. If you find yourself missing those good old days, don't forget to hit the like button and share this video. Without further ado, let's dive into the nostalgic wonders of the N90s. Just imagine this, stumble upon a time machine and boom, you find yourself transported back to the good old 1990s. How cool would that be, right? But let's get real and have a frank chat about what it would actually mean to revisit the 90s. Let's start with school days. Feeling a bit nostalgic about the mornings when my mom used to wake up early to get me ready for school. I would often find it challenging to open my eyes and get out of bed. Even though I felt the urge to stay asleep, I knew I had no other choice but to wake up and face the day. Here's were the days of reluctant wakings, but there was a sense of routine and a comforting familiarity in the daily ritual of getting ready for school. School life in the 90s, a time when backpacks were filled with Lisa Frank folders, gel pens were treasured possessions, and the cafeteria was the place to trade snacks like they were a form of currency. If you're feeling a bit nostalgic for those good old days, there was a sense of simplicity that seems almost foreign in today's tech-savvy classrooms. No tablets or laptops, just good old notebooks, textbooks, and the occasional overhead projector. Forget about typing your assignments. It was all about mastering the art of legible handwriting. Remember those epic battles for the best seat on the school bus? The cool kid sat in the back while the front was reserved for the studious types. And don't even get me started on the hierarchy of seating arrangements in the classroom. Practically a science. Lunchtime was a whole event in itself. The cafeteria was a bustling marketplace of Lunchables, Dunkaroos, and Gushers. Trading snacks was a serious business. And if you had a rare treat, you were practically a lunchtime legend. And speaking of food, who could forget the thrill of buying ice cream from the school's ice cream cart? School life in the 90s was a time of innocence where the biggest concerns were homework assignments and who you were going to sit next to on the bus. It was a time when friendships were forged during recess and notes were passed discreetly in class. The magic of a 90s school life lies in the simplicity, the genuine connections, and the shared experiences that shaped a generation. So if you find yourself yearning for the days of gel pens and Trapper Keepers, just remember those memories are etched in the notebooks of time, waiting to be revisited with a smile. Let's take a trip down memory lane to the 90s, a time when the technological landscape was vastly different from today. Imagine a world where the internet was a luxury, not a necessity, and the most advanced piece of technology you owned might have been a Walkman or a Tamagotchi. Things first, smartphones were basically non-existent. No pocket-sized computers with touchscreens, just good old flip phones. And if you were cutting edge, a pager. If you wanted to talk to someone, you had to find a landline or use a payphone. Remember those days? And hope they were home to answer. Now, the internet in the 90s was a whole different animal. Dial-up connections were the norm, and the infamous sound of connecting to the internet, must say, this screeching and beating is permanently etched in the memories of anyone who lived through it. Forget about streaming HD videos. It was a triumph if you could load a web page without taking in social media. Now, nope, not a thing. If you wanted to connect with friends, you had to do it the old-fashioned way, face-to-face, or maybe through a chat room if you were feeling adventurous. And don't even get me started on the painstaking process of creating a custom mail instant messenger away message. We'll talk about the gaming era of the 90s. Now that's a nostalgia trip worth taking. Chunky pixel graphics, button mashing controllers, and the unmistakable scent of victory or defeat in the air. The 90s were a golden age for gaming, and if you were a kid back then, you were living in a digital wonderland. Super Nintendo. And Sega Genesis were the heavyweights duking it out for supremacy. It was Mario versus Sonic, and households were divided into Nintendo or Sega camps. Remember, blowing into the cartridges to make them work? It was practically a rite of passage. Now, the games themselves, pure classic. Super Mario Bros. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Street Fighter II were the backbone of every gamer's collection. No online multiplayer. Just a couple friends gathered around the TV, passing the controller and talking smack. Who could forget the revolutionary introduction of 3Ding? Super Mario 64 was a game changer. Literally, the transition from 2D to 3D was mind-blowing, and suddenly we were exploring vast virtual worlds with our favorite Italian plumber. Buckle up for a chat about the social life of the 90s, a time when hanging out meant knocking on doors and your popularity wasn't measured by likes or followers. Life was simpler, connections were genuine, and if you wanted to make plans, you actually had to commit to them. Remember those summer days when you grab your bike, cruise over to your friend's house and ask, can so and so come out to play? No group texts, no coordinating through apps, just the thrill of riding around the neighborhood and hoping your pals were available for some outdoor adventures. And speaking of adventures, playgrounds were our social hubs, swings, slides, and monkey bars. The meeting place for kids of all ages. Playdates were arranged with a simple question, hey, want to come over and play? No need for elaborate scheduling or coordinating busy calendars. It was all about spontaneous, carefree fun. In the 90s, social life was about face-to-face interactions, handwritten notes, and the thrill of exploring the world with friends. It was a time when friendships were built on shared experiences rather than shared posts, and the concept of fear of missing out was virtually non-existent. The 90s social scene had a simplicity and authenticity that's become a bit of a rarity in our hyper-connected world today. Those were the days, my friend. I wrap up this video. I have so many more 90s memories I'd love to share with you, but we'll save those for another time. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. Also, if you have any recommendations or topics you'd like me to explore in the next video, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Your support means a lot, and I can't wait to dive into more nostalgia with you in the future. Thanks for watching.